Shalom, all praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Quadash. Double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone, who have taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, whom are you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Ratazah. This lesson is edifying. The Wadi Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, for finally inspire me with the Holy Spirit to do this lesson. And this video that you brothers and sisters see before you, that was published by Forbes Breaking News, was shared earlier by a brother. And as we briefly go through this video, we will filter everything that will be said by the Senator John Kennedy, the Republican senator of Louisiana, and we will filter everything that he says as far as biblical prophecies go according to the scriptures. And Abba Ratazah, again, you are edified to the elect out there, okay?
I'd like to talk about nuclear revitalization for a few minutes. And I want to make two overarching points. First, no sane person wants a nuclear war.
Well, it is written in the book of Revelation, chapter 11, verse 14, that the second woe is past. Woe means destruction. And what was the second woe that has passed? World War II. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly. And so World War III cometh quickly. And this war will be a war that will be fought with burning and fuel of fire, according to Isaiah chapter 9, verse 5, which reads, "For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments rolled in blood." And so when we look at ancient wars that were fought between kingdoms, their troops would go on the battlefields with swords and spears, chainmails on, lances and bows and stuff like that equipped, and they would impale each other, thrust through each other, decapitate each other. That's how ancient wars were fought. But this, that is the third world's woe, which cometh quickly, according to Revelation chapter 11, verse 14, shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And what's going to cause that to happen? The nuclear missiles. Because it is written in the book of Job, the 20th chapter, that a fire not blown shall consume him. This is the book of Job, chapter 20, verse 26. All darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. Who's the him that it is referring to? The elites of Esau, Edom. And ultimately, this man's kingdom. Because in the fullness of his sufficiency, when he is about to completely realize his new world order, or as it would say, add the cherry on top of the cake, that is when the Lord will completely stop him and then destroy his kingdom. He shall be in straits, a position of difficulty. So it reasons to say that all darkness shall be hid in his secret places. A fire not blown shall consume him. Right, so what causes this particular fire to generate? That is the fire from the nuclear missiles. The chain reactions of fusion and fission. Because you see, a fire typically requires air, oxygen, and fuel. And this is known as a fire triangle. But the fire will be generated not through this particular phenomenon, but through the phenomenon of fusion and fission. Okay? The splitting and the combining of the elements, the atoms. And that is what will cause the nuclear detonation. It shall go ill, which means bad, with him that is left in his tabernacle. And we can refer to that in the book of Joel, the 2nd chapter. The 9th verse. It says, they shall run to and fro in the city. What's going to run to and fro in the city? The nuclear missiles. How? After they detonate. Okay, the Lord is likening the nuclear missiles unto a great army of horses and horsemen. And these horses and horsemen, that is to say the missiles, they shall run to and fro in the city. What city is that referring to? America, Babylon the Great. And there will also be other parts of the world where the Lord is going to destroy as well with the nuclear missiles, such as the land of Israel, because that land right now is inhabited by Edomites. It says they shall run upon the wall. So they're going to climb over their missile defense systems. Nothing will be able to stop them. It says they shall climb up upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief. Right, it shall go ill, which means bad, with him that is left within his tabernacle. Okay. So these missiles are going to completely devour everything in their paths. So now let's listen on some more.
No sane person wants a nuclear war. But number 2, peace through weakness never works. Never. When the United States built much of its nuclear stockpile, the Cold War was raging, and the Soviet Union was our only major adversary with a sophisticated nuclear stockpile. We remember those days. Our nuclear power deterred Soviet aggression and ensured that the Cold War never escalated. But today, fast forward, we no longer face just one threat. Russia still maintains the world's largest nuclear arsenal, but China's nuclear stockpile is growing rapidly. North Korea.
Why is that? Because these nations, in fact, I'm right here in Joel, these nations have been taking their economic wealth and using them towards the research, development, enhancements of weapons of mass destruction. Because we are in the season of war. Okay? Joel chapter 3 verse 9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, the heathen nations. Prepare war. And we read about what war? The third was woe. One that shall be fought with burning and fuel of fire. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Draw near where? Come up where? To the valley of decision. Jehoshaphat. In the Middle East, which is Yahweh Shaphat in the Hebrew, which means the Most High's judgment. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Plowshares and pruning hooks are instruments of agriculture. This is a metaphor for the nation's wealth. Okay, so they are to take their economic wealth and use them towards the research, development, enhancements / optimizations of weapons of mass destruction, primarily for ICBM nuclear missiles, which according to Jeremiah chapter 50 verse 25 are the weapons of the Lord's indignation. And your pruning hooks into spears, Let the weak say, I am strong. So that's why these nations, in particular in this case, China, has been rapidly advancing their nuclear arsenal, because we are in the season of war. These nations are being prepared for war.
Korea, as we know, continues to threaten our allies with its collection of nuclear weapons, and thanks to the disastrous nuclear deal with Iran, Iran is marching ever closer to developing a nuclear weapon of its own. So,
find a better business anytime at bbb.org.
Tyson Air Fried Chicken. 75% less fat, 100% delicious. Only from Tyson.
Here's where the United States finds itself today. The United States must now counter nuclear superpowers in both China and Russia, while also deterring the itchy trigger fingers of unstable dictators like Kim Jong-un and the Ayatollah in Iran. We should be innovating and preparing our nuclear arsenal for this new global dynamic, but instead our nuclear stockpile remains stuck in the Cold War. And that is just a fact. Put simply, America's nuclear stockpile is old and it is shrinking. And while modernizing our nuclear arsenal should be a top priority, our effort to restart nuclear weapon production has been riddled with delays and poor planning. And we do not have time to waste. The United States has not built...
Pardon me. That's why the scripture speaks about how they're going to come up upon America. Excuse me. That's why the Lord refers to America as being the land of unwalled villages, because people are dwelling here comfortably. You know, all the decadence, all the goodies, the trinkets. People are living in abundance, in pride. So when the Lord sends judgment, people are going to be caught off guard.
A single nuclear warhead since the close of the Cold War. Let me say that again. The United States has not built a single nuclear warhead since the close of the World War. Instead, we have focused on what we call life extension programs to keep our old weapons operational by refurbishing them. Those that aren't refurbished are destroyed. From 1994 until 2020, the United States dismantled 11,683 total nuclear warheads. And this total does not include the 2,000 other warheads that have been retired while awaiting their own demolition as well. Most of our nuclear warheads are decades old. The facilities where we built and store these are even older. As recently as 2019, the computer system controlling our nuclear weapons ran on floppy disks. I kid you not.
Oh, shit.
Today, we're so far behind in our nuclear revitalization that we cannot even produce plutonium pits. Plutonium pits are an essential component of every nuclear weapon. Plutonium pits sit at the center of a warhead. They're not all that different from pits in a peach. The pit is essential because it triggers the nuclear explosion. Plutonium pits do not last forever. They can only sit inside a weapon for roughly 100 years before we must replace them. And the clock is ticking on many of our Cold War era weapons.
And I'll conclude the lesson here. I'll leave the rest in the description box. You can check it out. And our brothers, this lesson has been edifying to the elect. I say shalom.